Okay, that's it for this week. Bye! No, well, really, I have not done any doll things since last week. I have been sewing. I'm working my way through this shirt for the kiddo. The sleeves, I know, look a little weird now. They still need to be tacked to the inside and then folded up so that they have a contrast cuff. I still need to do the bottom hem in the front and the buttons as well as the cuffs, and I'll be done. But I've just had no motivation to do anything. Like I said, I'm working through this, and I'm of course also getting more and more acutely conscious of the fact that I have thanks sewing still to sew, and I have John's birthday stuff still to get together. It's 2 weeks until school starts again, and I'm telling myself that I will start doing tutorials and room tours and stuff then, because again, I have the door closed. I mean, the Floof is here purring, so she's not freaking out about the door being closed yet. But motivation to do doll stuff has just been... I even pulled out color yesterday and sat down with my doll hair to see if there were, what color I would like to replace these streaks with. And I actually do like these streaks when they're considered on their own. And I like this color combination, the dark purple, the pink, the pinkish purple, and the coral. It's just, the yellow is my thing. So I'm still planning to take this off and paint these some other color, but that obviously hasn't happened yet. Hi, Foofies. Also, last week I had to have my car in the shop, and that was a fun chunk of money to spend. We're talking Kenner Blythe or Volk's full set price of money. So yeah, the urge to spend on frivolous things has ratcheted down after that. I'm sure by the time the child is back in school and I'm able to go thrifting again, I will feel better about it, but for now we're just sticking with what I have and not feeling motivated, and I know why. It's the monthly cycle. But since I knew I would have nothing to talk about in this video, I asked if people had any suggestions, and I got a few suggestions. And the one I liked was from Heybug, who said, "Can you show us what's in the boxes?" So I am arbitrarily choosing this box because it has a lot of guy dolls in it. So I thought that would be something a little out of the usual. Of course, I hadn't expected to have a desk full of Floof when I did this. So we'll see how that goes. Are you going to stay here, Floof? I didn't expect her to stay here. That's why I sat so long at the beginning of the video holding her, because I figured, actually figured as soon as I tried to pick her up, she'd try to flash me. Because she has some matted fur that really needs to be cut off. I know it hurts, but she's not very cooperative. So, this box, mostly boy dolls. I thought it would be interesting to show a concentrated clump of the guys. Not all the guy dolls, like my Hybrid Allen is up there, and I think my Monster High guy is over in the smaller dolls box. There she goes. Oh, she's gonna sharpen her claws though. She's not going out the door yet. But there are some ladies in this box. Like I showed you her a few weeks ago. This is mostly the box for like 13-inch-ish dolls. Taller than Barbie, but not all the way up to the next like 14-inch scale. So that means we get things like this, which has a gymnast Barbie body, which is on the tail end for Barbie, and then this slightly larger doll head. So we have her. Her name is Pratima, because I think she looks like someone of from India heritage. Although whenever I try to put her in a sari, it just looks cheesy, so. And then we have, what are you playing with, Floof? A small plastic thing. No shortage of those around here. The Fresh Dolls Lynette, wearing the pants made from Queen of Squids pattern that she shared for Fresh Doll Jeans. The shirt is made from the pattern I shared for Barbie size shirts, and if you make the seam allowances slightly smaller, they will fit the Fresh Dolls and curvy size bodies. Floof, what are you doing? You wound, Floof? And I repainted her. I guess I will show you Pratima's close up too. I added, her original paint had just been a big red blob, so I added red to even it out, and I gave her some eyeliner, wings, and some pearl medium eyeshadow. Her original eyebrows are still intact. They were originally airbrushed brows. Because her head is from a vintage souvenir type doll. The foot was falling apart. I did get it glued back together, but it's not a great body, and this gymnast Barbie body had suffered the cracked neck, and I think it was missing pieces, so I could not repair it, so we ended up with her. And so this is the Fresh Dolls Lynette I repainted. People are doing fun things with Fresh Dolls repaints, especially John. But it is a good sculpt. Just the original face paint on the Fresh Dolls is very commercial fashion doll, but people, like I said, are putting their own spin on it. And I don't think I'm great at painting, but sometimes I can do stuff that I really like. And another tall doll is this gal who I got at the doll show this year, and I do want to make more clothes for her. My main thing holding me back from making more clothes for her is how her hat is very glued on. I would like to take this hat off, but I don't want to, you know, destroy her hair. So it's like every once in a while I'll pull her out and I'll try to lever a little bit more off. And I do feel it give a little, but I don't want to rip things up. I just don't want her in this forever because it has definitely seen better days. She does not have a name yet. That's her face. And then, not everybody else in here is a guy, but there are a lot of guys. And this is Gordon. His name is Gordon because this head sculpt was rumored to have been called Gordon. This head is from an M&C Toys Power Team World Peacekeeper. Those are those really cheap action figure dudes that you see in like Big Lots and Dollar General type stores. And they are super articulated, which means they have double hinges, but it's really weird because there's also a pivot on the end of the hinge, so you can get their arms and legs into really weird, unnatural positions. It's an okay body, it's just a little big and bulky, and the hands also were changeable, but just the overall bulk of the body I didn't like. What are you doing, Floof? Floof's in her spot on the floor. She likes to lay there and slash and swipe at anything that gets near. So I will try to leave her alone, but she's just so funny. So the rumor was that this head sculpt was based on one of the M&C Toys executives named Gordon. I think I made his eyes a little darker, and I definitely gave them bigger light reflections. But the way these heads go onto the Power Team action figure bodies is the neck is attached to the head and the whole assembly goes down into the Power Team torso. Well, I pulled that out and cut the head off and ground it out, and I'm pretty sure one of Chris's bread tags is in there to keep it on this Fashionistas Ken body. Shirt I made a long time ago with actual working buttons, which I did working buttons in the old days just to prove that it can be done, and people who don't do working buttons are being, oh, now that I'm older and my eyesight's not so great and my dexterity's not always great, it's like, okay, yeah, working buttons do look great, but they can be really hard to manipulate when they're this small. So that's Gordon. And then the one we call Jens. This is the Harley Davidson Ken from the Harley Davidson Ken and Barbie gift set a few years ago. I think the Barbie had like that half model muse, half pivotal body, And Ken was, this is, I think, one of the first instances of the Pivotal Ken. So I eventually found the gift set on clearance for like $25 or $30 in Walmart, and I felt like that was a lot to pay for just the Ken, but I obviously got him anyway, and immediately repainted him and tried to make his hair a lot less product enhanced. So I went with one of my super simple, almost stylized repaints. Really, he's supposed to look like that. And I do like him a lot. Again, I made the shirt. I think I got this cloth from a thrift grab bag of cloth. It's really interesting print. And I made his pants, and his boots are from action figures. And the glasses, people like, I'm pretty sure I say this every time these glasses come up. People ask me about the glasses a lot on my dolls. These are photo-etched metal glasses that Volks made in the early 2000s. Kotobukiya made some glasses also photo-etched. So they're super delicate, so they're fairly in scale, but they're also super delicate, and I'm amazed that I have not accidentally crumpled, twisted, torn, stepped on, or otherwise lost any of these glasses yet. I do have a few pairs of these glasses. Like, where is he? Yeah. Trey here is wearing one of the Kotobukiya glasses. I think Kotobukiya did make them that were silver, like this, straight metal, but they also had them with this black powder coat. So Trey, you went out now, Floof? I see flippy tail. Hold on. So Trey here is a Flavas Trey Awards Night doll from like here up. That Flo, FJ, Flockcentric, Frankenstein Rakagaki. He has several different screen names. Dear old online friend. He gave me this doll, but only from there up. Because if you know much about the Flavas dolls, you know they have some really, not real buttons in this one. They have this fairly interesting and unique skinny torso, but they had originally rubbery clicky legs, and I replaced his legs with Gymnast Ken legs. They do not match his skin tone. I am considering giving him the legs from that Kenya's Boyfriend doll I thrifted, but maybe not, because my doll's not inclined to wear shorts, so you cannot see that his legs are the wrong skin tone, but they are super floppy because I just have them strung on with some sewing elastic. Or I could make the elastic tighter and paint his legs. But the Flavas dolls do have articulated elbows at least. And this doll's gimmick was that he had different looks. I think all the award nights gimmicks were, but the guys had, they both came with wigs. His other wig was an afro, which is great, but I gave it or sold it to somebody else at some point because it was just so great for every doll that it went on to. And he also had the color changing paint, where if you put cold water, I think that would make it appear, and it would look like he had the stubble or beard, and then warm water would shave it off. But I painted it on permanently because it's a nice look on the guy. And I removed, he had really weird lip color, like very, 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 very pink, I think. So I removed his lip color and I painted over his eyes so they were dark too, because you know my dolls, if they're going to have brown eyes, I want them to have brown eyes, not sand or champagne or ecru or the light colors, dark eyes. So that's Trey. And then this is a guy John customized. John painted him completely green and painted his face and glued on his hair. And he had a bad ankle, and he sent them to me, and I rigged it together. So it doesn't have, this ankle doesn't have all the range of motion it should have, but it's good enough for this guy. And the paint that John used has held up really well for being sent from Australia to here. And I've had, this is an action figure jumpsuit somebody gave me. I had it on other dolls and it stained them terribly. So since this guy's painted, I don't feel bad about putting it on him. And he's wearing a t-shirt I made ages ago for guy dolls. And he has a great one of John's more sleek stylized faces. John basically has two face modes. One is sleek stylized and retro doll looking, and one is soft blushy pastels. So this is the stylized. I forget what I named him. It might have been Verdigris, because he's green. But I also have the original green guy, the Mattel Wizard of Oz Winky Guard, with his uniform off and his uniform hat removed to reveal that he has no hair. I mean, other than he has this line to delineate, the line for delineation, where his hairline would have stopped if he had hair sewn into his head. But, so, and he also has numbers on the back of his head. I did take off a few, there were like lines around his mouth. I did use acetone to remove those to give his face a little softer look. But I think he was one of the first green skin dolls I got. And again, I got him in Toys R Us when he was new. And he's like $40. And like, do I really want to spend $40 on a doll? But obviously in retrospect, yeah, I'm glad I did. So he is naturally green plastic, the old gymnast Ken body, so his arms and legs bend to varying degrees. I made his shirt and I made his pants, and it is really fun to bleach pants like this. If you ever get a chance to, you just take bleach and a toothbrush, dip the toothbrush in bleach, then take like another toothbrush or a toothpick or something, and aim the toothbrush at the pants and just pull the other thing over the bristles and it'll splatter all over. So, and more action figure boots. These action figure boots were also a splurge many years ago. It was the company I think is called, or was called, New Line Miniatures. And they make a range of fairly realistic but mostly combat related action figure shoes, so I like these because they were almost generic enough to seem civilian. And it's an action figure jacket too from Dragon Models Limited. And the necklace I threw together from parts taken off of, I went through a phase where I would make earrings with French hooks, but I didn't like all the springs and beads, metal beads that were on every French hook, so I took all those off. But I saved them and made some doll jewelry. An action figure watch too, although I don't know if I should give dolls watches anymore because nobody wears watches. And then this is a more recent guy. It's same head sculpt, the Callie Guy Blaine sculpt, which is different from the Generation Guy Blaine sculpt. They have the same name, the sculpts are completely different. I have had and gotten rid of Generation Girl Guy Blaine many times. Of course, I'd like to have them again, but I'm sure I will eventually. So, this was the original Callie Guy Blaine head. I can't remember. Yeah, he still smells a tiny bit like suntan lotion. He is on an action figure body, an Ertl Sportsman action figure body. So the way the Ertl Sportsman action figures worked, again, is the neck was connected to the head, so the neck goes all the way down to meet the body. Of course, Ken heads don't do that, so I used epoxy putty to build up the neck, and then I painted it a very, very roughly color match to the skin tone. Hollowed out the inside of the Ken neck and put it on with, I'm pretty sure, I might have used hot glue. I might have put a blob of hot glue on and then put that on there to make them pretty secure. And then because I just couldn't have his fluffy blonde hair, so I glued on this yarn and I painted his eyes and eyebrows to be darker. And I was not thinking Taika Waititi when I made him, but a lot of people have said that he looks like Taika Waititi, so if people want to say he looks like Taika Waititi, that's okay. An action figure jacket, I made the shirt and pants, and these are actually Ertl Sportsman action figure shoes too. It just amuses me that these boots are the same as the body brand. Although I think these actually came on the Ertl Sportsman gal. Yeah, I don't need to remember this stuff, but I do. Okay, this is, of course, a guy I put together to be completely silly, but he has managed to stick around. He is, an older gymnast Ken. I think this might have been Phoebus from Hunchback of Notre Dame, which I've never seen the movie, so I don't know if they're pronouncing his name Phoebus or Phoebus. I'm sorry. But, which is a very orange Ken skin tone, so I was shuffling through my body box last year, and I thought, oh, wouldn't that be funny to put this pumpkin head that I thrifted off the toy table. I think it was the top of a tube of candy, but I'm not sure. To put that orange pumpkin head on the orange body, and then I put them together, and I like them well, I mean, I like them a lot. I like them enough that I haven't ripped him apart back to his component pieces and put them aside. I mean, part of the reason for doing him is, again, it's just some Teflon tape on the neck to give a little bit more friction. Did I grind out? Yeah, I think I did grind out the inside of the pumpkin a little bit. Better, though, I thought, to damage this pumpkin than to damage the body. Someone gave me this sweater, so I have no idea where it's from. Action figure shirt. I'm pretty sure that this is one that has been very bad and stained bodies before, but he has a hard plastic body, and I also think I put it in vinegar to fix the dye. And I made the pants. I'm not sure if I made the socks or not. And the shoes, I think, are from one of the Descendants guys. So this was a guy I put together completely ridiculously who was fun. And then this guy, this is young sweetheart's Michael, who is, I'm not sure if the young sweethearts dolls are obscure or not. There's like, it's a binary. Either you know the young sweethearts dolls or you don't. I don't think there's any kind of, that's vaguely familiar. What the young sweethearts were, basically they're the line, it was Michael and Melinda were sold in the same package, and they had a lot of articulation. Melinda's body actually turned into the gymnast Barbie body, and Michael's body turned into the gymnast Ken body. However, by the time Mattel went from Michael to gymnast Ken, you see Michael has wrists, gymnast Ken does not have wrists. Michael has ankles, gymnast Ken does not have ankles. Michael has an upper torso or chest joint, Ken does not. Those are the big differences. The plastic used is slightly different. Oh, and the neck connection. You know, Ken has the column with the hacked off top. That Michael has something a little more akin to the action figures, where the neck is attached to the head, and then there's the ball that meets the body. Which Melinda also had all of those features. The head, the neck on the ball, and the wrist, and the ankles. And I think she had I didn't keep her. I probably should have. Melinda's head was actually used to make the so-called German Francie. So, I can't remember if John's the one who ended up with my Melinda. He had a Melinda that he repainted to look like German Francie. So, Melinda had some reuse, and I don't think Michael's head's ever been reused, but I really like him. I do need to do something with his hair. I got them actually both mint in box on eBay, so his hair has pretty much been this fluffy for 40-some years. I don't know if I will reroot it or not, but I do, of course, appreciate the fact that his brown eyes really are brown. And I made the shirt and I made the pants, and these are action figure shoes. So that's Michael. And then the last two dolls in here are not guys. They are the gem dolls that Eric sent. Stormer still has her original flower. This is a sweater I got from Love to Knit. No, this wasn't Love to Knit doll clothes on Etsy. Who was this? This was someone that I don't remember the shop on Etsy, but it was advertised that every knit Barbie piece of clothing you got would come with a hanger. Well, I got it, and the hangers were cut out of milk carton plastic, which was a fine idea. It was a cute idea, but it hadn't quite been rinsed enough, and there was like milk, dried milk peeling off the back. But I don't know if that shop still does that, because I don't think I ever ordered anything besides my initial order to get just a few things, including this great sweater. Although this sweater has no fasteners on the back, so some dolls it can be a real challenge to get on. It looks better on the bigger dolls, but it fits better on two of the slimmer dolls. And I made these tights randomly long ago from a pair of tights that I used to have myself, and these are DC Superhero Girl Bumblebee boots, so those shoes do kind of fit the Gem dolls. And I can't remember what this is from, but it's contemporary with Gem. I can't remember if it is Gem or if it's just that Gem at the time used a lot of this stretch lace like this. So Stormer was one of my favorites when I was young. And again, I've had Stormer come and go a few times. Like about 10, 12 years ago, I was in a blue-haired doll phase. I was just trying to get this collection of blue-haired dolls. And I still do like blue-haired dolls somewhat. After about, I guess it was more like 15 years ago I started blue-haired dolls. After about 10, 12 years ago, blue-haired dolls were everywhere. And so my interest in them started to wane. I'd also realized that I was buying a lot of dolls just because they had blue hair, even though there were other dolls in the collection I liked more. So I got the other dolls and got over that. I don't think I have much of any dolls back then left. And so the last doll in here is the other blue-haired Gem that Eric sent, the Aja. Aja, I mean, I had all the original line of Gem dolls. So of course I had Aja. Aja was a favorite. My favorite outfit of hers was that one with the yellow dress with the sort of ragged hems and overlay, and because I made sure to dress my dolls only in the show, in what they wore in the show, because I was one of those kids. So here she is wearing this that I made for Curvy from the pattern that I shared for female action figures, and she is wearing Barbie, but the Endless Hair Kingdom shoes. I do have other shoes that fit Gem feet, I think, but it just amused me to use somewhat easily obtainable modern doll shoes. So when I was a kid, I don't think I ever would have dressed Aja in this much pastel, because when I was a kid I was all about bright colors. But I actually do like her in the pastel. I don't know if I will ever repaint her. Like I said, I did repaint the Stormer I had about 11 or 12 years ago. And I liked her, and then I found a new home for her, because that's what I have done so much with my history of dolls. I'm trying not to be so bad about acquiring dolls and passing them on and just being a revolving carousel of dolls, but we'll see. So that's it for my week of having no new dolls to talk about, but maybe you thought it was interesting to look through these, and if I once again next week have nothing new to show you, maybe we'll do this box. Thanks.